I just wanted to make a little short video. It might end up being a long video. And it's something I committed to doing by the end of today. It's not gonna, I could go way, way, way deeper into this subject and provide some infographics and some text. And I think that might be necessary and something I'm going to do in the future. But today I just want to shoot from the hip and get my first take out there on these 5 principles. So my mission and my dream is to create a paradigm whereby humans are relating to reality from a principle-oriented consciousness rather than a form-oriented consciousness. And so what that means to me is that there are fundamental principles that inform what it is to be to relate to objective reality. So these 5 principles, when we align to them, when we align our body, our mind, and our being to these 5 principles, we are effectively relating to or aligning with truth. When I use that word, I don't necessarily mean ultimate truth, because consciousness is not subject to form, to the body. But I am referring to relative truth, the relative truth of being a body. In this realm that we've agreed to participate in, we are subject to the body and the limitations of the body. And there we can relate to that efficiently and effectively, or we can distort that relationship through identifying with the mind and with the conceptual domain. So it's my experience that to the degree to which I'm aligned to these 5 principles is the degree to which I am relating to reality as it is. And so that relationship is more effective and more efficient when I'm aligned to those principles. Now, these 5 principles, many people get them, and they might not actually identify them as principles or really understand or have ever even thought about it. And if you look at people like masters in their chosen field, they will be aligned to these principles. Now, maybe they've just grown up around people who got that, or maybe they figured it out so young that's what I want to master, and I'm going to master it. And to master it, they've had to align to these principles. And so whether they consciously understand that or not doesn't really matter. It doesn't negate the principles. So if you look at someone like Michael Jordan, you look at someone like Muhammad Ali in his prime, you can see that they are operating from an effortless place. You know, when Jordan is slamming his basketball in that net, so I'm not a basketball guy, but when he is fucking dunking that ball, he is chilling, he is smiling, you know, he's relaxed. And that's one of the principles. Being relaxed. Relaxing our bodies, relaxing our tissues, relaxing all the tense muscles and its nerves, really. He's calm. You know, the mind is calm. It's not anxious and agitated and like trying really hard because he's practiced it so much. He's calm. He's practiced how to be calm doing something that would be quite intense for anyone who hasn't put that amount of time and effort and repetition in. He's centered. He's very much in his center. He's moving from the center. Grounded. To bounce up that high, you have to have a relationship with the down principle. The down principle creates the upward and the outward expression. So we got relaxed, calm, centered, grounded, and feeling his whole body and the space around him. He knows exactly where he is in his body, exactly like how everything is aligned to just perfectly, bang, do that thing. And he's aware of his spatial environment, how to get through to where he wants to express his thing. So it's the same for any mastery. And please don't think that I'm coming from any place of mastery here with this. I'm coming from really a place of massive dysfunction to a recognition that aligning my body, mind, and being to these 5 principles creates a state of harmony and coherence and clarity and surrender to my life and to what is, and I have to let go of the resistance to wanting things to be other than they are. And in that, I am finding mastery over myself, mastery over my own conditioned mind. And so I'm very much about, I've always been very much, not always, but in the last sort of 10 years is when, like 12 years ago, like my process began from being super dysfunctional to coming into an aligned place, increasingly more and more aligned. From the way I look at the domain of process or the domain of transformation is I come at it from the body. So I come at it from the angle of the body. Okay, the body is representative of the mind. So if the mind is conditioned and distorted and traumatized, then that is expressed in the tissues of the body, in the shape of the relationship of the joints and the posture and everything like that is expressive of the internal state, the dispositions, my assumptions about myself and life. So it's been my experience, and this is what I teach, is that if we work with the body, we have to work with the mind. So if we look at the body as like the indicator of where we're at internally, where we're like how we relate to our pain and how we relate, like how our body is expressed, the shape of our body, how do we hold ourselves, you know, like how do we move, how do we relate, how do we relate to the ground, to the space around us, to other people, to our bodies. In what ways are we reactive, and how does that show up in our bodies? So the body's like a kind of like, it's like what's a good metaphor? It's like a signpost of our internal state. And so you can come at it from the mind and allow it to affect the body, or you can come at it from the body and allow it to affect the mind. It's a chicken and egg situation. So to work with one, you have to work with the other. You have to train your mind to let go, to align to the principle of relaxation. You can't relax the body unless you relax the mind. And you can't relax the mind unless you let go unless you let go of wanting things to be other than they are, unless you let go of your stories and dispositions about how this is, how you want life to be another way, how you want your body to be, I need to fix it, or I need to change this. So these 5 principles are very, very powerful. They're not to be overlooked, and they're so obvious as well. They're so they sound obvious, and their obviousness is actually what makes them so powerful, because they're so obvious people completely overlook them. Yeah, relax. Yeah, of course. Yeah, that makes total sense. But are you doing it? Can you actually relax? Okay, apparently I am having technical difficulties, so I'm going to need to wrap this video up here. I think it's fair. It's a good first pass at this, and I will return to it in the future. I will expand on the 5 principles, and I will share a little bit more about my experience of my journey so far in aligning my body, mind, and consciousness to these 5 principles. I do want to mention that the teacher I learned about these 5 principles from is a guy called Peter Ralston, Ralston. And if you want to learn a little bit more about this stuff, I highly recommend, a very good starting point would be his book, Zen Body Being. And with that, I will say good night. Thank you for watching.